Welcome into the Christian and Cowboy Podcast, this post-game edition of the Mississippi State game. Cowboy, Tennessee gets a big win over Mississippi State today. What are your thoughts?
I didn't see the game.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I think I saw part of it. You tell me, what are your thoughts? You got a lot of notes here. Looks like you did some reporting.
Yeah, I did. One thing, D-line played a lot better today. 7 sacks, 10 tackles for loss. I think that was, the defense won the game for Tennessee today. 7 tackles for loss, or 7 sacks, 10 tackles for loss, and 3 interceptions. I'm going to be honest, the quarterback play in this game was atrocious. I'm pretty sure it was 5 total interceptions for both teams.
Yeah, that's right. That kid had 3. Maurer had 2.
Yeah. Both were in the end zone.
I mean,
He threw both of those picks in the end zone.
Yeah. I saw the second one. I mean, it wasn't a good throw, but, that's what you're going to get. That's what people act like, just taking Warren Tunnel out, everything's going to be saved. And, Maurer's not a bad player. I think he probably has a future, but probably at Austin Peay.
Yeah.
He don't show me any difference making. I'll tell you this too. And it can't be said enough how tough Guarantano really is.
No.
So that kid, they've had him out there twice. He's been hurt in both games. Not even 4 full quarters of play, and they already.
Guarantano has gotten hurt like 2 times his whole career.
Well, that we know of.
Yeah.
It's made him miss time. You got to feel good for him. He didn't do anything really to win the game. He threw that little hitch to Bird who housed it. But even at the end of the game, you could see there was real joy. And the kids there was a relief, and they're celebrating with the fans. It's a shame that it's come to the fact that
just winning one conference game is like winning the national championship.
Not even that, but it's Mississippi State.
Yeah.
You never thought you'd see the day that. But let them be happy. Lord, think of the pressure they're under. We act like we care more than they do. That's the stupidest thing. Of course we don't. There might be some kids on the team that's true.
Yeah.
But for the most part, this is their life right now, and all they've heard is how bad they suck. Justifiably.
Yeah.
But hey, that was a season-saving win. Is it going to lead to a bowl? There's a chance.
Probably not.
There's a chance.
But you never know. You have a chance now. It's like they were saying on Reed's Ranch this week. If you win this game, there's at least a path to 6-6.
Very much.
Is it likely? Probably not. But there's at least a path to it now.
Well, Vandy's a given. It looks like we've thought that for so many years.
Yeah. Vandy sucks. They suck.
Yeah, they're what they're always mostly going to be. So you figure you win that. Kentucky, who knows? But they've not looked like anything since that kid got hurt, since the fourth quarter of that Florida game. So it's going to come down to, can you split at least with Missouri and South Carolina, 2 teams that we just for some reason haven't been able to beat for the last decade, pretty much. Certainly since Muschamp's been there.
You're going to have to split with Missouri and South Carolina and then beat everyone else but them, obviously.
Yeah.
You have to beat Kentucky. You're going to have to go on the road and beat Kentucky, which right now doesn't look like it's going to be too hard to do. But did you see Henry To'oTo'o got a targeting?
Yeah.
So he'll be out for the first half next week. Not that would make any difference at all. But
probably your most productive player on defense at the thinnest position on the team, particularly after Banks got hurt or got kicked off.
About to say.
It's a disaster. I never saw the play. Was it a legitimate call?
Yeah, it was basically a that's the rules analyst had on there. He said that's the definition of targeting. He didn't hit him that hard, but he leaned the crown of his helmet and everything. So it was a good call.
He didn't seem to argue, and it hurts. You need him out there, but is it gonna matter?
Yeah,
No.
One thing the defense helped with today is we didn't have to throw the ball much at all. The Mississippi State's offense couldn't move the ball at all, so I guess we figured, we don't really need to be that aggressive offensively because they've shown us what they can't score. So I guess, in the second half, if my stats are correct here, we passed the ball 7 times and we ran the ball 23 times.
Yeah, that's a good observation because that.
Yeah.
I don't know how many yards we have rushing all together.
I don't know. Let me look. I'll let you talk while I'm looking at that.
So, number one, first thing you got to look at is how bad must Mississippi State be?
Oh,
Holy shit! I mean, you're talking about giving up 7 sacks to a team that couldn't get to the quarterback against anybody that we played.
Mm-hmm.
And what was Tim Priest's line? We are getting no pressure.
We are getting no pressure on Fromm whatsoever, Bob.
And it was the truth. I mean, he could have sit back there in a hammock. So, and then, see, there's that. They only scored 10 points on us on that awful defense we have.
Let's see. We had 190 yards rushing.
So that's big time.
So they're 121, yeah.
So 200 yards rushing, pretty much.
Yeah,
in a
167 yards passing.
That's what you got to get back to. And obviously, it's a long way from that, but there's no question that that's what's hampered Guarantano's play really since he's been the starter. It's the inability to run the ball, and there's no question this offensive line is now at least adequate.
Yeah.
Instead of the worst unit in the league, which is what it's been since Butch has been there. And now and last year it was no better at all, and this year it is. Mm-hmm. It's improved. Mm-hmm. It ought to be.
Yeah.
These kids have got a lot of starts. So, what worries me is this Bama game for the last 5 years. It just is so soul crushing. They just beat us up physically, and so you get that, and you got to get right to playing South Carolina. Thank God that game's at home. That's the only way we win it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, having to win in Columbia, especially after that, I'd give us no chance to win that game.
Well, I mean, is Georgia really that good? And I'm starting to think no. What's your guy what's his name, Uncle Lou?
Yeah.
He's right, man. I mean, you look at last week. If we don't miss that field goal, we go into the half. I mean, with 2 minutes to go in the half, we're up 4, and then you go down, and then.
I think we would have been down 1, but still something like that.
It was a game.
It would have been a game.
I mean, the score is not indicative of. It just got away from us in that fourth quarter with that turn up, with the fumble they ran back. Georgia is just not a team that can really score right now. It's weird in that they got a senior quarterback basically in Fromm. They got talent all over the field. They got the best running back in the league. Uncle Lou says it's coaching, which is what a fan always says. It certainly looks like something's wrong. Muschamp can dial up a defense and stop teams. I don't think that just because South Carolina beat Georgia, that doesn't necessarily mean you can't use the transitive property and say, well, Georgia beat us by 30. South Carolina beat Georgia. South Carolina is going to beat us by 50.
Right.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
For one, South Carolina can't score any points. Mm-hmm. And so that's a good thing because we can't either. But if
we scored 14 on Georgia in regulation, they scored like 17 on them.
Yeah. So that's a good example. So if you keep it, it's going to be a one-score game. And if you don't turn the ball over, it's game
winnable.
It's a game you can win.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at some of these stats here, penalties, we did pretty good on penalties. Only 3 penalties.
That's a good continuation of a trend.
We're the least penalized team in the SEC. Somehow.
I didn't know that until last week. It's not really made much difference, but that's still good. It means you're generally a disciplined team.
You said Garantano kind of had a feel-good story today. I think Tyler Bird had the biggest one. He led the team in receiving yards, and he can barely get on the field these last couple of years under Pruitt. And he goes out there today and has game of his career probably. Well, one of the best games in his career.
Yeah, I remember when he came in and was signed. I mean, if you want to start talking about the bus that we've had, and every school has them, but boy, there have been a bunch for us. Dylan Bates is the one that immediately comes to mind out of those Bush Jones classes. But Bird was highly, highly thought of. Everybody wanted him. He was like a superstar at the All-American game. That's his senior year. Mm-hmm. I don't really understand what the problem is. They tried him at defensive back because when they first put him at receiver like Bush did everybody, and he never did anything. And people were bitching, hey, get him on defense. This is what he played in high school anyway. Mm-hmm. Well, they put him over there for about a month, I think, and he just evidently just couldn't play at all.
What year was that?
I think it's his freshman year.
His freshman year was 16, and he played. He had some catches in that Florida game, that Georgia game. He played in those big games. So,
yeah, I don't. It's hard to figure. I mean, you got two bell cows in Jennings and Callaway. That's, they would play. I think that's probably the only two players on the team you point to that would probably play anywhere except probably Bama, because Judy and the other kid's so good. But
and Ruggs and all those.
Right. But anywhere else, those guys would play.
Mm-hmm.
And so is it just a matter of he's just gotten a system that he just can't quite get on the field? I don't know. But, I mean, that play today, it was just well designed. I mean, all they did was throw a little hitch, and they ran trips to that side of the field, and they just sealed it off the blocks, and he just outran everybody. It was, but yeah, I mean, you're right. If you want to talk about feel good, I mean, it isn't going to change his career, and it's not going to be the millions of dollars that he thought he was going to make. Mm-hmm. And these kids come into college; those are different kinds of kids, in that they believe that they're destined for great things. Mm-hmm. And it just didn't work out for him. And you got to give him a lot of credit. He didn't transfer. He's never been in trouble. Mm-hmm. He didn't. I've never known him to be one that's complained or caused problem on the team. Sometimes that's how it works in life. Mm-hmm. Is that you got to just be a role player. Mm-hmm. And today, it paid off for him. Mm-hmm. So that's a good thing.
Let's see. So Brian Maurer out for the game, or he was out for the game with an undisclosed injury.
They never did say what it was.
No. Did you ever see the hit?
I saw I think the play you're talking about. I mean,
where the dude he kind of landed basically on his back. I think that's what play they were talking about.
Generally, that's a shoulder thing, but
I mean, he was up there in the crowd celebrating with the students. He's just jumping up there like it was.
I almost wonder I mean, after that second pick, I expect when Guarantano came out, I figured they just benched him.
I thought they did too.
Yeah.
And then they said Maurer was hurt.
It's hard to say. It might not have been that bad, and they just figured they'd go JG the rest of the way.
Yeah, probably. One thing I liked from Maurer today, he used his legs a lot more than he did in the Georgia game, and I think that's a strength for him. He needs to use his legs more.
That's what they said since they recruited him. I mean, he was to go back a long way, kind of a Heath Schiller type quarterback. Mm-hmm. We've not really had anybody like that in a long time. I guess maybe never. Dobbs, of course.
Right. Yeah.
But Dobbs always looked funny running. It just.
Yeah, I think Tim Priest said one time that the way Dobbs runs, it doesn't look like he's running very fast, but he's just speeding by.
It never did. He didn't look like a great athlete.
He doesn't look like a great athlete, but he is.
Yeah.
A lot of players had standout games today. Kenneth George had his first interception of his career.
Warrior 2.
Well, that was his third interception of his career.
Well, but I mean, he had a pick.
Yeah, he actually played really good today. The Warrior did. Which is
I think Alontae, when I was able to look at it, Alontae Taylor had some good plays today.
Yeah, he did.
Which is, to me, everything. If you want to look to next year, they need him to be the player that you thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
We can't have him killing us that week after week if we're going to be anywhere near competitive next year. So that was a good sign. There was good signs everywhere. I mean, Samiglia, made his kick.
Mm-hmm. He barely made that 49. So maybe it just snuck in there.
Well, for 50-yard kicks, that's not a chip shot. How did what's the punter's name?
Paxton Brooks.
How did he? Paxton Brooks.
Or no, Paxton Brooks is the kickoff guy. Joe Doyle.
Doyle. How did he punt today?
He had one punt that was just beautiful from like the R30. That should have been we should have downed it at like the 1, but no one. I guess none of our coverage guys could get all the way down there, and it was a touchback.
Classic out-kicked your coverage kind of thing. Well, because he had a bad game last week.
Yeah.
And so
he had a much better game this week. Trying to look at some more of these notes here. That Mississippi State field goal, their first one was just unreal. It's a 51-yarder. It hits the crossbar and
just dribbled over.
Dribbled, yeah. Well, no, the crossbar actually just made it go farther. Like it hit the crossbar and the momentum kind of made it go into the stands almost.
Something to keep your eye on that's kind of emerged. Well, it started last week, and I texted you. I said, "Is Eric Gray hurt?"
I think he's in the doghouse for some reason.
because there was an emergence last week, and it continued this week of Tim Jordan. And it
Had a touchdown today.
It looks like he and Chandler are your backs, and Gray has been shuffled to the side.
Kind of wonder why that is. Yeah.
Well, for one thing, he just didn't do much. It's like it always is. You hear these stories every freaking summer practice. So-and-so's look great. Oh, he's the difference maker. And then nothing. He looks like a pretty good player, but he's not.
Or they might just be, I mean, has he played in 4 games yet?
Oh, yeah. He ain't no red shirt.
There's no red shirt.
No. So it could be that they've decided to go a different route. I mean, I just kept waiting for him to really, when he got the ball in space, which maybe never happened, for him to really make people miss and be a dynamic playmaker and take 160 yards. But he never did it. And now it looks like he's third man in line, which is an interesting development. Hopefully it won't cause him to get bitter and leave. But
I hope not, because he looks like he could be a difference maker. Maybe not this year, but you never know. One thing that, it didn't come back to bite Tennessee, but kind of frustrated me, 2 out of our 3 interceptions today, off that interception, we went 3 and out off the interception today.
Is that right?
Yeah. Let's see. Let me see.
That's a good observation.
The first one we went 3 and out. The second one we got the field goal. And then the third one we went 3 and out.
That's bad. I mean, the turnover doesn't do you any good if you don't cash them in.
Yeah, and the second one was the field goal before halftime, and then the third one we went 3 and out too.
Okay.
Now the third one, that was in the second half when we were kind of just sitting on it, just because Mississippi State showed us that they can't score the whole game, and we were kind of just playing conservative in the second half, and we could play conservative because.
Well, I mean, there's only so you can't take air of the ball too early, and I think they did. I mean. I can see that point that they didn't feel like they could score. If you go back to the BYU game, if JG doesn't throw that pick, like they don't throw the ball the whole second.
That's probably what they were thinking. Honestly.
And I can understand that.
Yeah.
Because if we don't throw the ball the entire second half against BYU, I bet we win. And maybe that's in the back of their mind. But
that's probably what they were thinking.
Once Mississippi State scored,
it's 13-3, 2, same exact score.
I sent you a test at this game, or we're going to lose. Now.
It was not looking good.
We took the ball over, and that drive was
beautiful.
It really was, and there was a key 3rd and 8, I believe, that we converted.
Mm-hmm. Are you talking about that
like
little? Wasn't it like a screen pass that Chandler?
No, it was Jordan runs. It might not have been 3rd and 8, maybe 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3, and that's so short yardage has been a problem for this team. God almighty, since Fulmer was a coach. When you need a yard or 2, we've never seen them able to get it. And today we made a big first down. We had to have it against a pretty crappy team. At hell, we ain't been able to do it against.
It's still an SEC team.
We ain't been able to do it against the Georgia States of the world. So,
yeah,
that's an improvement.
And, at least now we're not the only team in FBS that doesn't have, or not the only Power 5 team doesn't have an FBS win. So,
who is Rutgers beat?
Making me look up stuff again.
You said that
I seriously don't know, though. Let me look.
Who could it be? Who could they have possibly beat?
I think they played Purdue today. No, I don't. It might have been Purdue. I don't know. Hold on, I'm going to look. I seriously, that Bama's up 34-13 now.
God,
man. Rutgers lost to Indiana 35-0 today. And they beat... They beat UMass. Oh, FBS Power 5 over an FBS team is what it was. That's so. Okay. UMass is FBS. They're. So, yeah, I know. You and I were thinking like the Power 5. Yeah.
Yeah, like somebody in one of the main conferences.
No, what that stat was, we hadn't beaten an FBS team until today, because our win was against Chattanooga.
Oh. Okay, I see.
Yeah, we were the only team in Power 5 that didn't have an FBS win.
An FBS win, not a Power 5.
Not a Power 5 win, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they don't have a Power 5 win.
Who's Mississippi State beat?
I think they beat Kentucky, they beat Louisiana.
Oh, that's right. Kentucky.
They either beat Lafayette or Monroe. And then the other team they beat was like,
Well, I'm talking about even Power 5.
oh,
I wonder how many teams there hadn't beaten a Power 5, because there's got to be a bunch of those.
let's see, they beat Southern Miss, Louisiana, and Kentucky, and then they lost to Kansas State, Auburn, and us. So
Does Auburn play today?
no, they're off. I'm pretty sure. Let me look though. I'm pretty sure they're off today. Do you have any? Well, by the time this is uploaded, everyone will know what happened in the Florida LSU game. But do you have any predictions for that?
Man, we talked about that the other night. We did picks. Have you got the picks, by the way?
Yeah, I put them on there.
So
if you want to see our picks, go to my normal college picks video for this week.
Okay, so
ahead.
you did it on that, yeah.
Yeah.
So we were looking at that, and I said, LSU's 13.5-point favorites.
I'm taking LSU.
Man, I just couldn't believe it was that high. I mean, Florida's not chopped liver, but especially defensively, they're not. So, but a night game in Death Valley is a house of horrors most of the time for almost everybody.
Mm-hmm. Auburn is off today.
I can't imagine Florida winning this game. I just can't. I can't see how they could possibly do it. But if they do, man, they're right in the driver's seat for this deal.
Mm-hmm.
I'd almost like to see Florida win the East, because Bama would beat them by 1,000 points.
Yeah.
It'd be worth it just for that.
It would be pretty entertaining to watch that. Not gonna lie. I don't know what game CBS is gonna go to next week. There is crap next week in the SEC.
Well, are we off?
No, we put Bama.
Well, that's one. So that game's at 9 on ESPN.
It's like, I think
It's already selected. I mean, they've got somebody.
The games that haven't been that are to be determined is Kentucky, Georgia at Georgia, LSU at Mississippi State, Florida at South Carolina. Those are their three options.
Really?
Yeah.
They'll
probably go Florida, South Carolina, depending on what happens tonight. I mean, even if Florida loses tonight, that's probably where they'll go.
I would think. I mean, I don't know. Georgia's got who?
Kentucky at home.
I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
they were probably thinking that, and then they lost it, and they were like, But yeah. Do you have any other things you want to add, or do you want to go ahead and wrap this up?
We can wrap it up. I think we've covered it pretty well. Sorry we were late this week, but we had fall break, had things going on. We visited UT this week as a prospective student. Had a good time. It was
Prospective student.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting choice of word.
Not perspective, prospective.
Prospective.
A prospective.
Oh,
student.
I'm a prospect.
Yeah.
Whoa, I feel like a recruit now.
I should have enunciated better. No, that was neat. I mean, I didn't go to school there, which is an embarrassment to me.
Why?
It just is. I wish I had a UT degree. I mean, I got all this clothes, and it looks like one of those. But anyway, I've never really spent my time around campus is pretty concentrated, so I didn't know a lot of the ins and outs of where things were.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good for me to kind of get a better picture of places I knew about and kind of where they were. But now I know how.
I mean, I didn't know where the Rock was.
I did. We didn't see it all, but I mean, in terms of it's a big old place, but I found it to be manageable.
Yeah.
Whereas I wasn't sure it was before we went down there.
It's manageable, and I mean, it depends on where your classes are, but you could spend your whole time down there without a car. You'd be fine.
If you're on campus, you could probably.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it goes. You got a long time to worry about it.
Yeah.
But that's a place that you can see yourself going, and maybe it'll work out.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just see how the golf career progresses and other things, grades, and where do you think's the best fit. You visited 3 places. We'll probably try to hit Chattanooga maybe this spring, and maybe a private school here or there, and see. And we'll start talking about the options. It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, unfortunately, then I won't be able to do podcasts like these because I'll be too worried about school.
No, you'll have more time.
It depends on what.
You're not in. It's so during high school. In some ways, you have more time.
Really?
I definitely did.
Really?
Because I was at football and basketball practice every day of my life.
Oh, yeah.
And even baseball for a lot until I got to high school. And then, I mean, I always had something to do. And plus, you're in school from 7:30 to 2:30 or whatever.
Yeah.
It ain't like that in college. I mean,
It's longer classes, but you don't have as many.
no, you'll go to 2 or 3 a day, usually 3 at the most. It depends. And but I mean, you're going to have to work somewhere. Whereas a lot of kids don't. I mean, obviously, if you're a scholarship athlete, you don't do that. But that's the big time sports. You know, the
Football,
revenue sports.
basketball,
Yeah,
baseball,
if you play baseball, if you play golf, if you play tennis, probably those kids have jobs in the off season because it's the only way you can afford it. You know, so.
Well, Tennessee beats Mississippi State 20-10. Hope you guys enjoyed this post-game edition of the Christian Cowboy Podcast. We're going to do another episode this week like we always do, right?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know. Should we? What are we going to do? I guess
We'll preview Bama and then talk about NFL and baseball playoffs, stuff like that.
I'm going to give you a spoiler alert on that preview.
Okay.
I like Tennessee. Big.
I do too.
By the way, did you upload my 350-yard drive?
I will upload that. Okay, you know what? How about this? Comment if you want to see Cowboys' 350-yard drive. Comment below and say, I want to see that. Please upload it. If you comment that, I will upload it because he wants me to upload it. I don't want to upload it. But if you guys want to see that, comment below and tell me you want to see it, okay?
It was a perfect drive.
Very perfect. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Go Vols, and we'll talk to you again soon. See you later.